Hey guys, welcome to Real Talk with me and Gemma. Again, we've done one with Elliot. I thought it would be good to do one with Gemma as well. We wanted to talk about this question that sometimes people also ask us, which is that do you still have to work on recovery? As people who say that, yeah, we've recovered from OCD, do you still have to work on it actively to maintain it, to stay rational, to stay accepting of our fears? Do we still have to dispute? Do we still have to read the books? Do we still have to do any exposures? So, and I think it's a very interesting question to, I think, always answer because I can approach it from so many different angles. So, like Gemma, like if I ask you that question, let's say I was asking you that, hey Gemma, do you still work on recovery per se? What's
So
your answer?
I don't work on recovery in the sense of I don't have regular scheduled disputing. I don't really have targeted exposures. I mean,
Yeah,
for me, it's kind of a if something comes up, if I notice something, then I'm like, okay, leave it for a little while, see what's happening. Do I need to do some work on this? Is there something that's been creeping in that I haven't noticed? Have I been giving in to anything? And it's all quite in the moment for me. So the example I actually gave to someone today was that if I go to the toilet and I wash my hands and I go to walk out of the toilet and I get a thought in my head, oh, I'm not sure my hands are quite clean, which does happen. I have an
yeah,
OCD brain. I'm never going to not have an OCD brain. So these things do happen.
yeah,
I'll have a little thought. And then immediately, because I've got all of the tools and all of the work I've done, my brain will go, if they're not clean, they're not clean.
yeah,
Not an issue. You've washed them. It's over. Out you go. And I stop myself in the moment. I could quite easily go, oh, maybe just to get, but as soon as you do it, you can start slipping into those compulsions again. But you become so good at identifying your triggers. I know if I'm feeling a little bit apprehensive about going out somewhere, I know that it's because I'm worried about suddenly feeling anxious in public. So
right.
what I need to do is I need to immediately make sure that I go out. I never avoid it because there are still little things occasionally that do trigger me, but they go as quickly as they come because I know exactly how to deal with them in the moment. It's not like it brings up this setback or relapse or
Yeah,
anything
yeah,
like that because I have that kind of background knowledge and I have that kind of automatic reaction of, oh, that made me feel a little bit uncomfortable. I'm going to do it again
right.
because I know how to keep on top of it. So there is a maintenance, there is a level of, I would say, being really aware of yourself and aware of your
Right.
triggers and aware of your behaviors and aware of the fact that we can lie to ourselves as well, aware of the fact that we can make ourselves believe that we're not doing these things. So just being really conscious of that and maintaining in that way is all I do. I don't do any active work on it,
Right.
but if anything comes up, then I will look at that and I will say, maybe I do need to have a little bit of a, think about whether I need to work on this in future. Or, I suffered really, really badly with health OCD. So for instance, so for about 2 months, I would say I've been getting dizzy spells. I haven't
Right.
seen a GP yet. I will eventually. I
Yeah.
will absolutely eventually do it, but I won't do it in the moment. I'll never ever do anything in the moment because I can't trust that it's not an OCD thing. So
Hmm.
I have to go with a bit of a, maybe someone would have seen a GP before I have, but I have to be overly cautious because I have OCD and I know
Right.
that I can slip back into compulsive behaviors. If it continues, if it really starts to bother me, if I pass out, I'll see a
Yeah.
GP. Sure, I'm avoiding seeing a GP because I
Yeah,
have
yeah.
no issue with if I do have an illness. However, I will never jump to doing anything like that because I know myself and I know how quickly I could fall into a cycle again. I'm like an alcoholic. If
Right.
I have a drink, I'll have 10. So
Yeah.
I just need to not engage.
Yeah, I think like for me, like a similar thing happened a couple of years ago where my mom was going through cancer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we were making like frequent visits to the hospital, and we were still in the stages of like, getting it diagnosed and having a biopsy done and things like that, right? And because you have to, go through certain processes, and obviously as a family, then you have to go through certain conversations and whatnot. So I think for a couple of weeks, I was having like, heart palpitations and my heart was skipping a beat. And for a
Mm,
moment, I was like, wait, like, because with my mom as well, it was a situation of not getting herself checked out, and like certain problems being there, but not getting checked out. And then turns
mm,
out, hey, it's
yeah.
cancer. So I was also like, wait, like, is this like also like kind of that thing? But and I remember having a conversation with Rob as well as like, by the way, like for 2 weeks I haven't done anything about it, but the a heart skipping a beat kind of thing is still lingering over there. I don't know what it could be or whatever. Like, should I do something? Should I go? I don't know. Get some like heart thing. And this is, I think, like a couple of days after my mom had that. What do you call it? Angiography? I'm not sure.
Yeah, ECG. Yeah.
ECG, where they insert those wires into your heart, literally, kind of like those thin wires, just to, see what's going on. Um, and so, and he was like, "Don't do anything right now. Just like sit with it." And I think like I had to go for about I stopped tracking for how long it was going on, but it went on for like a few months where
Mhm.
I would notice my heart skipping a beat, kind of like thing. It would happen, but I was just like, okay, I'm going to kind of like let it be for as much as I can, and to a point where I stopped even noticing it, and at some point it went away. I don't know at what point it went away, but it went away.
It
So
goes away when you no longer care, which is why you
yeah,
don't realize it going away because it happens with me all the time. I'm like,
yes,
oh, there's a sensation. It's bothering me. Gonna leave it there for a while. Once I stop caring, it goes, and
yeah.
I never know when it goes because I don't care
Because you're not
anymore.
expecting it, it goes
Exactly.
away when you're least expecting it. And
Mm,
I was saying to someone about this with acceptance as well, that
mm,
acceptance will kick in when you least expect it. Like
mm,
when you're not looking for, okay, am I being accepting of this situation or not? It's just a case of like, it'll surprise you. There'll be a moment where you're having, I don't know, like a conversation with someone, and someone says something offensive or something that would otherwise, make you angry, but then it won't be making you angry, and you're like, wait, oh, I'm not that bothered. Oh,
mhm.
okay, maybe
Yeah.
this is how it is, like because you're not looking out for it.
Yeah, 100%. It was the same with me for like derealization, depersonalization. Like I felt like I was living in a dream for such a
Yeah,
long period of time. And I was terrified of it. I was like, this is so scary. This is so surreal. Like everything feels so weird. I don't know how I can live like this. And it was around the time that I started rereading the Paul David book, which I always say helped me so much with those
yeah,
physical sensations. And I don't know when it went. I can't bear in mind it was so intense that it's all I thought about
yeah,
24/7. I can't pinpoint when it went because I stopped caring and that's why it went. So the
yeah,
fact that I didn't care made it go. And because it I didn't care, I didn't even notice it going. It just slipped off
yeah.
on its own.
Yeah, yeah, and I think like, so with what you were also saying at the very start as well about like, washing your hands in the toilet and then walking out and something like that, and being like, it kind of like it trying to rear its head
Mhm.
and have a little bit of a grab at you, but it doesn't really have it. To me, I feel like there is hardly ever a situation where I even think along
Mm,
the lines of, ooh, this is OCD trying to do something. Like, I
mhm,
don't even that way of evaluating my life has pretty much gone in
mhm,
many ways. Like, there are certain things like if I have pickles, for example, which I love having with certain foods. If I have pickles, right? Pickles can have like a very strong kind of smell, and it can be in your fingers after you've had them. And just washing your hands once, doesn't make it go away. And I kind of like get annoyed, if I, after if I'm having food, or like if I, put my hand on my face and then I can still smell on my food, just a little annoying thing, you
mhm.
know. So I would have a second wash of my hands, and but I'm not thinking, oh, is this OCD? Is this not? And in a way, because I'm not thinking along the lines of whether it's OCD or not. That's also why it's not a theme either, because I'm also not afraid
You don't
of a
care.
relapse.
Yeah.
I literally don't care. Like,
Hmm.
and you can, and just because in the past hand washing was like a compulsion for me, doesn't mean that I can never in my life ever have two hand washes in in a single go kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right?
If you stick your hand in dog poo, you're going to wash them a few times. You don't have to go, I can't
100%.
wash them a few times. Like, don't be disgusting. Wash your hands a few times. You've touched
Exactly.
poo.
Exactly. So I mean, like, I don't know. I think like something I was saying to you earlier today as well. It's like I think the only time I maybe have to kind of like keep an eye on things is maybe like once in 6, 8 months.
Hmm.
That is if at all, if there's like I can maybe feel like it's trying to rear its head, but at times it's like a ghost of a
Hmm.
feeling, not like an
Yeah.
actual feeling, but a ghost of a
Yeah.
feeling that's
It's like
trying
a
to creep
muscle
up.
memory thing, isn't it? It's like, oh, I
Yes.
remember like feeling that tug, but it's not quite that
Yeah.
tug.
And for me, that's the demotivation because,
Hmm.
and I'm surprised, I'm actually surprised it's demotivation and not any hand washing because, I mean, I can't tell you how many like hand washing, cleanliness kind of things were going on. For me with contamination, it was full on. But it's not that ever, kind of like creeps up. It's the demotivation feeling where I feel like,
Hmm.
I can sense myself going into a little bit of that mood of like, I don't want to do anything. Or like, okay, I'll do it later kind of thing. That
Hmm.
slight kind of thing kicks in, but it never sucks me back in. And I don't even have to sit down and be like, okay, let me go back to the books or let me dispute or let me do an exposure. It's none of that. It's more of a case of okay, is it going to be helpful for me if I put this task off? No.
Hmm.
So I'll just like get to it anyway,
It's
because
just have a word with yourself sometimes, isn't it? Like,
yeah,
is this helpful? Is this a good behavior? Is this going to get me where I want to go? No, it's not. Like I was saying to you earlier, I said, you asked me, how I view myself now. And I said, I feel like even if I had the biggest relapse of my life, say everything suddenly came back, I was suddenly feeling like I could barely move, the physical sensations were pumping away.
yeah,
I would still do the exact same thing I have planned for this evening. I would
exactly.
still be on this call right now. I would have still done my calls this evening. I would still be going to the gym once I finish speaking to you. I would still be doing everything the same because I've done it. I've lived through
Yeah,
that state of severe anxiety and still done everything whilst it's present. The room could be spit. I'd still do the same thing
yeah,
because I don't rely on how I'm feeling to do what I do anymore. I
yeah.
just do what I'm doing because I've said I'm going to do it. And
Same.
that's the difference because my brain knows no matter what it does, it's not going to change what I do. It doesn't even try. What's the point?
Yeah.
Why would you try and make me act differently when I'm not going to act differently?
Yeah. And that's also the thing. I mean, exactly to what you said as well. I feel like, I mean, it's also not that I'm not opposed to ever like having to do another exposure, like or
Mm-hmm.
in some ways like okay now maybe there's a belief that's sticking so much. Maybe I do have to sit down and dispute it. I'm not opposed to that like thing as well. Maybe at some point in time, that might happen, but so far it has not happened and I'm like okay sure but at some point if it happens I can maybe sit and take a bit more of a hands-on approach with working on whatever fear or belief that is and that's also why I mean I'm not afraid of a setback or a relapse because for me it's like I'll just repeat what I did the first time and
Exactly.
literally
Yeah.
that's all. That's as simple as it is. So I was just saying that I mean all this like hard work that you put into your mindset and your life philosophy and this and that and it is all boiled down to this like straightforward statement of if it happens, I'll do it again. That's all. But and it's funny that way because I think people feel like, or even I felt like that there would be this like long, complex kind of, thought process behind everything that and there is but on a day-to-day basis I'm not thinking of that long detailed complex kind of like philosophy at
Mm-mm.
all. I don't
No.
even have to remind myself of that internal monologue or essay at all. it is like this like simple statement and philosophy that I embody that yeah, yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, I'll handle it. That's all.
And I think also, like, as I started to improve, I was so like, do you know what? Once I get out of this, I never want to speak about OCD again. Like, I never want
Yeah.
to think about OCD again. But now I know that that was definitely just a fear thing because I speak to people all the time with
Yeah.
OCD. I speak to people about their fears. I speak to it, but because my brain just isn't scared, it doesn't. Because I used to think, you know, if I talk to people about OCD, I'm just going to keep getting their fears. Surely, like it's all going to latch on to me, or I'm going to, you know,
Yeah.
develop new fears. I can listen to any fear, and it doesn't latch because I'm not scared of having it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know if I do have it, it will be really uncomfortable. Of course, OCD is not pleasant, but I've done it before. I've done it for years. Like if
Yeah.
I do get it, I'll go, okay, well, I'm comfortable here anyway. Like
Yeah.
I know what it's like to be here. It's
Yeah.
fine.
And I think that the other thing is also that I don't view my life in the format of do I still need to work on OCD or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's more a case of I mean, because just because you recover from OCD, and this, I think this is another important perspective that people really don't think about that much, is just because you've recovered from OCD, that's not like a finality in life of like, okay, this is
No.
the destination I had to reach, and now I'm just like going to live a normal, like there's so many like, and I think that's also the reason I'm not afraid of any setback or relapse because I don't view it as, oh, I reached recovery and now that's that. For me,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, for example, right now I'm not a parent. At some point, maybe one day if I do become a parent, that's going to be another acceptance curve. So
Mm-hmm.
there's still so many things I would have to work on acceptance wise that I don't
Mm-hmm.
even know of yet. Like conceptually, I can work on my, concerns about, oh, what if I'm a parent who struggles to like communicate well with their child, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Conceptually, I can work on that, but I won't be able to really embody and feel the acceptance until I actually do become a parent
Yeah.
and until the child reaches an age where they are able to communicate. So that's like, I don't know, like acceptance 15 years in the making, I think, right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because,
So that's a massive uncertainty because it's not even, you know,
yeah,
how will I feel tomorrow kind of uncertainty. It's how will I cope with this situation in 15 years' time? You know, will I be in a stable position to deal with that situation? Will I, you know, still be as rational as I am now? Or will a massive life event have happened that's thrown me completely off track? And then I'm dealing with that situation while I'm, you know, not in the best state of mind. You just don't know. You don't know
yeah.
anything.
And I'm ready to be like, okay, if there's like a big acceptance curve that I will have later on in life as well, well then okay, I'm in for the ride because what will I do? Like if I feel like having a child, then not have a child because I'm just like, yeah, I mean, I might be a bad parent, so and it's too much work, so nah, I'm not gonna do
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Doesn't make
You're
sense.
not going to do that. No. When you just said that, then it reminded me of when Nick said to me, I was laying on my mum's bed, and she was there like stroking my arm. I was having like, this is when I was, when I had panic disorder, and
Yeah.
my whole day was like panic attack, panic attack, panic attack.
Yeah.
It was a lot. And I was laying on the bed. My mum was stroking my arm, and I was saying to Nick, I can't get up. I can't get into the car, and I have to pick my daughter up. And he was like, you're not going to pick up your child because you have a weird sensation in your body. Are you sure? I was like, oh, oh, okay. That's a good point. I'm going to leave my child, not collect her, not look after her because I don't like the sensation in my body. Like when you break it down like that, sometimes you're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Yeah, I
Right.
really need to like think about this.
No, absolutely. And I think like it's funny because when you're in the moment, you're not able to see it in more simplistic terms.
Yeah.
But when you're like out of it, you're actually able to see in far more simplistic terms. And you're like, it was actually quite straightforward. Like it wasn't as like complicated as making it to be. But
Mm-hmm.
and it's a complete kind of like switch that happens. And I just genuinely view life like this, and it might sound like mumbo
Mm-hmm.
jumbo, but I just genuinely feel like I'll be learning a lot of things till the day I die.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, if when I'm 90 years old and someone has to like wipe my ass because I myself cannot do it anymore,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that feeling looks like. I know, again, conceptually, I know that people who eventually become so physically limited to the point where someone has to, clean their private parts out, they feel sense of violation and humiliation that happens,
Hmm.
and a helplessness kind of feeling comes up, obviously, because it's like someone literally getting into you in that way. Um, but I don't know what acceptance looks like in the context of someone cleaning my private parts, you know?
Hmm.
So I think that like I'm probably going to have to there's so many things that mentally and emotionally I will have to adapt to for like again till I'm here. So
Hmm.
I don't see it as, and there's a certain discomfort attached to that process as well, right? It's not like, oh, because I worked on acceptance in the past, so this new thing I can accept as well. No, I mean it's going to be like a period of time
Hmm.
that I have to work on it.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
yeah.
I had someone telling me just before this call, um, like she's been improving massively, so much. And she was like, yeah, and I'm just at a point where I accept it, I accept like this doesn't bother me, this doesn't bother. And she was like, but is it weird that I just feel a bit bored? Like I just don't know what to do all day. Like I'm not worried. I'm not like I'm bored. And I was like, well, first of all, appreciate the boredom. But second of all, there's not this end of the road. Oh my God, I'm recovered. Life is perfect. Everything is great.
Yeah.
I'm so happy. It's just you start thinking about different things. Like, yes, I'm not currently having a panic attack and thinking, how awful life is like I was when I had anxiety, but I am thinking about, what I have to pay out, what my kid needs for school.
Yeah.
It's just my head's still full. It's just full of different things. And yes, they are more boring, but that's fine by me.
Yeah, I mean, when there's that much adrenaline in your body all day long, there's a constant sense of anticipation, and
Mhm.
again, like it's the same mechanism in your body that also makes you feel excited about, I don't know, going out on a date or something like
Mhm.
that. So when it's not there, it is going to feel like, wait, like this is like my life is just not exciting anymore. There's not the thrill of like, am I about to die or not? Like, essentially. But no, I mean, and I also see facing fears as not as like, oh, this is an exposure I'm doing. Like at some point I want to go skydiving, right? And
Mhm.
I know, I mean, technically speak, if you really want to categorize it as an exposure, sure, you can, because it is like facing a fear. But again,
Mhm.
I don't see it as, oh, I'm doing an exposure. It's just like, oh, I'm doing something that I'm scared of.
Mhm.
And again, there are going to be many things like that, but as long, and it's not also like, oh, if I don't face this fear, then that means I'm going to relapse and I'm going to stay,
Yeah.
like, no, I mean, like skydiving is not an OCD theme for me right now. Maybe if it was, then skydiving, I maybe have to do it to overcome that
Yeah.
thing. But I don't have to. But I like doing things that are kind of like a bit scary and, on edge.
I do think that maybe, as you said, because like we're used to having that feeling of, am I going to die? Am I not? Because I remember posting in the groups a while ago about like, as I got better, I became like a bit of a thrill seeker. Like I used to go on like
Mm.
any ride that looked like it was going to collapse, I was on it. Or like, trampoline parks, I'm trying to do backflips and stuff. And
Yeah.
like just any kind of thrill I could get, I was doing. And it wasn't an exposure as such. It was just I I'm okay with that feeling of is this it for me? Am I going to die? I felt it so many times
Yeah.
now that I'm like, well, I may as well feel it whilst enjoying myself.
Yep, exactly. By the way, completely random question. Is that like a new paint that you've done, the green one on
It
the wall?
is, yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I mean, I think you've done videos or something from this room before, but I never.
Yeah, I have.
It looks really good. It looks really
Thank
good.
you. I painted it
Yeah.
myself actually. I was quite proud of
Oh,
it.
yeah, I
Quite
mean,
proud
I've
of it.
never had that experience of painting a wall myself. Again, another experience I want to have, being able to
Yeah.
paint myself. But no, and green is just generally one of my favorite colors. So This kitchen that I have over here, this is also, by the way, green colors.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's really good.
That's like a
So,
sage green. I love sage green.
yeah, yeah. But no, this actually, and it makes the room look really like fresh as well. It's like light
Yeah.
a bit.
I just wanted a room that was green and full of books, and that's what I have now, and I'm very happy about
Very nice, very nice. Yeah.
it. Thank you.
Okay.
So, if you don't want to talk about OCD, guys, and you would like some interior design tips, me and Momin are here for
Yeah.
you. Whatever you want, OCD, interior
100%.
design.
Yeah, yeah. We're good with our art. I didn't put those paintings up, by the way, but I mean they still look good.
They look fantastic. I was going to say, if you did that, that's very precise. It looks like someone's got a measuring tape out to do
Yeah,
that.
no, no, no. That was the people who made this apartment. They did this on
They
their
did a good
own.
job.
They did a good job. Yeah, I'm happy with it. But no, Jim, I think we can also keep this like short and sweet. But I think like
Mhm,
I it again, this is because this notion also feeds into the larger narrative about OCD as well, which is that, oh, if you have OCD, then you have to work on it forever, or that you
mhm,
have to just like manage it forever. No, you don't have to be that, but you don't have to live a life where you're just like living in constant vigilance of like, is this
mhm,
OCD? Is that now? Do I have to watch out for this? Watch out for that?
mhm.
I mean, you can live a life where rational thinking acceptance can also just be second nature. And yeah,
Exactly. And even if all along you didn't even have OCD, you're still better off for
yeah,
having adopted this way of thinking because it's not just for OCD, it's for life, it's for everything. It helps with everything. So regardless of whether or not you suffer with OCD going forward, it's still going to help you with life in general.
100%. Yeah. All right, Gemma. Well, you go to the gym then. And yeah, I'm signing off now. I'll probably watch some Law and Order on Netflix and just have
Nice.
my dinner with it. And yeah, chill out for the rest of the night. All right.
Enjoy.
Yeah, thank you, Gemma. Really nice speaking to you again. And we'll do another one soon. All right.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.